Hello, beautiful people. It is Tepo here. I pray that we are well. I pray that we are blessed. But something that has just been on my heart for maybe even 2 weeks now is just for us to discuss the idea of putting our faith in action. So basically, what I wanted to do is just share with you guys the crazy things I did to accompany my faith, right? The crazy works I did to accompany my faith. I realized on this journey, and I'm speaking specifically about waiting on any type of promise. Many times we receive the word and then we simply just wait. But sometimes that is not enough. When the word speaks about how those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength, it's also there's an element to that process of waiting that actually has to do with an active state of waiting. There is an element of servitude that comes in the waiting. There's an element of doing that comes with the waiting. So the Lord had to teach me that as I waited, because I do believe that there was a long time during my wait where I simply just waited, sometimes out of obedience and sometimes out of disobedience. But there is moments in our waiting seasons where the Lord actually calls us to put our work in action, for our work to be less passive and more active. Now, this is the thing about, doing these faith acts. Sometimes they will come across as incredibly crazy. So, for some of you who already know, I have basically dedicated majority of this channel to just encouraging men and women about marriage and the promise of marriage and how it is worth the wait to believe in the Lord and to take him by his word, because he will definitely bring it to pass. At this point, these were just words that the Lord was giving me. These were just dreams. These were just encouragements. And I had no idea when the Lord would bring me my partner. I had no idea when the Lord would fulfill it for me. In fact, just recently, someone asked me if I'm even ready for marriage. And I said to them, by my standards, I would have disqualified myself, if I can be honest with you. But God just saw it fit for it to take place right now. So I wanted to come on here and just share the crazy things I did in faith, the crazy things I partnered my faith with, just to show the Lord that I took him at his word, that I trusted his word, and that I was completely placing my entire weight on it. Because sometimes we receive the word, but we still want to have some form of control over it. We still want to, have it go in our way. And I think that sometimes when we try to take control of the word, even though we want to believe in the Lord, but we want to take control over it so that we seem less crazy. I think that if we are able to conjure up the miracle ourselves, or even conjure up the way it is structured and the process and the timing, it makes us look much more better. But when you completely release it to the Lord and you say, your timing, your way, your everything, we are at risk of looking completely crazy. And I was one of those people who looked completely crazy. And I think sometimes it felt like it was even at a greater level, because it wasn't just me discussing the promise to friends and family, those that maybe I felt led to discuss it with, but it was also coming on a public platform, and sharing the dreams and sharing the encouragements, sometimes even receiving the pushback, sometimes feedback, sometimes pushback, most of the time, sometimes even criticism from other people. So when you decide to completely do it God's way, you genuinely risk looking insane. But I want to encourage someone today that sometimes your insanity and your craziness is exactly what the Lord needs from you. See, there's a crazy where we are trying to conjure up the miracle. We are trying to find confirmation in everything. We are, in a sense, kind of idolizing the promise. There's that type of crazy that doesn't have God in it. And I've been there before. I've already shared that testimony with you guys, right? But there's also a different type of crazy that brings so much peace. There's a different type of crazy that makes you feel like it's not up to me. I'm not making myself do these things. They're just somehow landing in my heart with such a gentleness that I can't deny that it is God, right? In a sense, I don't even want to do anything, but the Lord is leading me to do these things that seem crazy, that I can't really explain. And yet here I am. So those are the steps that I actually want to share with you guys. Some of them are not that crazy. Some of them might seem crazy, but maybe this can encourage you, can make you feel a little bit better. It can even act as confirmation for someone, because maybe the Lord has been nudging you in certain directions and you feel like, am I being too much? Am I overstepping? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? And actually, it's the Lord. Some of you might even feel like, ah, that's such a small step. It must not mean anything. But actually, it's the Lord. It's the Lord maybe stretching your faith. It's maybe the Lord even testing your faith, right? Do you have the ability to discern what the Lord is showing you and leading you to do as you're waiting, and then actually doing it, actually executing it, regardless of how simple, how silly, or how crazy it may be? I have written down a list of the crazy things I did in faith as I waited for the promise to be fulfilled. Specifically, I am speaking about the promise of marriage, but we are all waiting for something. We are all waiting for something. So I do want us to basically take this with a pinch of salt. For those of you who are waiting on the promise of marriage, of children, of a job, of a specific deal coming through, may the points that I share, I pray that they resonate with you some way and somehow, right? I pray that they also speak to you about the little steps or the big steps that you can take to continuously align yourself with the word of God, with the word that the Lord has spoken over your life. So, number one, very simple. I completely changed my skin routine. I know some of you might think, how does that even tie into you aligning with the promise of God? But I remember getting to a point where I just felt the slight nudge in my spirit that the Lord wanted me to become more intentional about the way I take care of my hair, become more intentional with the way I take care of my skin. And it wasn't just my like skin on my face, but just the skin on my body, right? And it was as simple as the types of products I would use and the things that these products would do. It didn't necessarily mean spending more money or getting expensive products, but it was just about being more intentional about these things, learning how to exfoliate your body, getting into a good shower routine. Do you understand what I mean? Just simple things like that. I genuinely felt like the Lord was saying to me, get your skin ready, my girl. Because I know I'm one of those people. I do take pride in my appearance. And I felt like the Lord was leading me to be more intentional with my appearance, specifically because I was in preparation to become a bride. And this was something that the Lord started nudging in my spirit around like 2021, to be honest. And that's when I started doing more research. I would do my own homemade masks with like olive oil and honey. And I also started to implement some vitamins, right, for skin. So these vitamins were like vitamin D. I actually have it here, just so I'm not, this is not a what do the girls call it, a paid promotion. I'm just showing you guys because why not, right? So I started including, or taking rather, vitamin D supplements because it's really good for your skin. Because I work from home, I don't usually get time to go outside. I'm normally just cooped up in my apartment. So I realized that my skin needed more vitamin D. So I thought, hey, why not? Right? Secondly, something that I also included was zinc. This one specifically, it says an antioxidant for the maintenance of good health and healthy skin. Right? I didn't do anything complicated. I would experiment, and whatever worked well for me, I did so. I got into the habit of buying more serums to, brighten the skin, not lighten, brighten. Or basically, let me make this make more sense, to more like even out my skin tone, because I did have a stint of like getting like adult acne, and it was getting on my nerves. So I decided that, okay, let me clear out the dark spots that the acne left, right? So simple things like that, guys. Just being more intentional about my skin routine. Waking up in the morning, making sure that I maybe wash my face, or I tone my face, or I put more oil or lotion on my face as I wake up. Also in the nighttime, repeating a skin routine before I go to bed. Something that the Lord literally impressed in my heart was that, because this was something that I was very, how can I say, I was very careless with. Right now, I feel kind of ashamed to say this, but it's okay. Don't judge me. I was very careless with my nighttime routine. So sometimes I would go to bed without brushing my teeth. Sometimes I would go to bed without washing my face. Now, that might not be a big deal, but it got to a point where the Lord was like, you need to get used to doing this at night, because there will come a time where you share a bed with someone. So you need to go to bed fresh, ready to, in a sense, be in close proximity with someone in the nighttime. Now, keep in mind, this is something I started doing around 2021. I even included a fragrance when I went to bed. Before I went to bed, I would spray my pajamas with fragrance. And now you can even ask my friends, right? They have seen me do this. I wash my face before I go to bed. It doesn't even matter what time it is. I make sure I brush my teeth, mouthwash, everything, floss and everything, right? But I also put a little bit of spray. Now, at the moment, when you are Ubi Tsapa's friend and you're coming through and you're watching her do all these things, she might seem crazy, because who's going to smell you in the night? But I just got the sense in my heart that the Lord was saying, prepare. Just like Esther prepared, I got that sense that I needed to prepare. I needed to prepare my skin so that I felt confident being natural and barefaced in front of someone, right? I needed to implement this nighttime routine so I could get prepared to basically share a bed with someone. Just simple things like that. I needed to get into the habit of smelling good when I go to bed, because one day I'm going to have to share a bed with someone, right? Those are literally the things that the Lord started placing in my heart and started telling me, get in the motion, get in the routine of this. May it be like second nature to you. Don't try and learn these things when you're in marriage. Learn them now. Very small, but something that I've learned even from my mother and just other married women. I've learned that it's the small little things that we do for ourselves and for others that actually improve the big things, sustain the big things. So I changed my skin routine. I changed my nighttime routine. I was very intentional. I was very consistent with this. Esther 2, verse 12 reads, now when it was each young woman's turn to go before King Xerxes after the end of her 12 months under the regulations for the women, for the days of their beautification were completed as follows: 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet spices and perfumes, and the beauty preparations for women. Other versions say beauty cosmetics, right? So I I started to see this verse actually come alive in my own life, where there was such an urge in my heart to almost beautify myself. And obviously, this beautification does not only take place on the outside, because we know that outside beauty is vain, it is frivolous, it disappears, it's here today, gone tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily last. The beauty that lasts, the beauty that should actually be praised, as Proverbs 31 tells us, is the beauty from the inside. So as I was also trying to pretty much beautify myself and aligning myself with the promise of God, I was also making sure that my insides were okay, right? My spirit was okay, my heart was okay. So I also want to emphasize that it's not just simply about changing my skincare routine. It's not just about changing the way I eat or changing this or changing that, but it's also about being intentional about healing, intentional about sorting yourself out. So, right? So the second thing that I did, I started cleaning my house more, cleaning my apartment more. Anyone who knows me knows that I mean, my friends basically make fun of me and tell me that I'm low-key OCD. I do not think I am. I just prefer my place to always be tidy. I prefer that things need to be where they are supposed to be at all times, right? But I realized that because of how like my life was set up, sometimes I would rely too much on getting outside help to come and help me clean. And I started to realize that I was not I was not strengthening the skill, because I believe that cleaning is just as much of a skill as cooking, right? Cooking is a life skill. It's not a gendered duty, nor is it a gendered skill. It's a life skill. I believe that everyone needs to learn how to cook, just like everyone should learn how to drive. Everyone should learn how to swim. These are life skills that can actually save your life, right? Knowing how to make a meal for yourself helps you survive. Same thing with cleaning. I realized that I am one day going to basically partner with someone to run a household. And I do not want to be the type of person who assumes that there will always be someone there to clean my house for me. I want to get into the habit. Not that I don't know how to clean. I mean, I'm a girl child, right? I grew up in a house with a black mother. I know how to clean. But I realized that as I got older and I started having more resources to maybe like bring people in to help me clean, I felt like I was losing the importance of cleaning my own house, not keeping it clean. 'Cause you guys get what I mean. I kept my house clean, but I would rely on someone else for like the deep, like spring cleaning. I started doing the deep cleaning, cleaning my windows, moving the beds, moving the couches, like just things like that. And I would do this regularly. And as I did it, I would just remind myself that I want to get into the habit of cleaning my little small apartment, because one day I will be cleaning my home with my partner, right? With my husband. Secondly, I also started cooking more. And this was also about just health and weight, right? Because sometimes, because you're living alone, it's easy to rely on takeout. And I got into that habit of relying on takeout. And because you're not trying to spend a lot of money, so you rely on the cheap things. But the problem is the cheap things are not good for you. So I cut that out. I remember even like deleting the app off of my phone and making sure that I cook every single day. I cook every single day. If I'm going to order something in, maybe it's on a Saturday, maybe it's on a Friday. Not only am I being more mindful of what I'm eating, but I am also saving money, but I'm also getting into the habit of cooking every day for my family. Now, just a disclaimer. I know this might sound like very frivolous, unnecessary things. It's okay. I'm a young woman and I live by myself. And so these are some of the things that some of you might also need to start thinking about, right? Someone else might be like, "Girl, I've been doing that all my life." That's okay, right? I needed to change my mindset, right? And these were the things that I noted start to change in my mind, and I knew it was the Lord because there was no man in sight. And these were specifically things that the Lord would impress in my heart, especially when there was no man in sight, right? I just found myself waking up feeling like I need to improve on my habits. I need to improve on my appearance. I need to improve on my heart health, my mind health. I mean, I've been to therapy a couple of times within these since 2020, all the way to 2022. So occasional visits to the therapist as well. These were all in the process of me just trying to better myself holistically, right? And with the therapist, I was speaking about family issues, past relationship issues. I mean, I was divulging everything. I would do the exercises that the therapist would recommend to me just so that I could learn how to be more self aware, learn how to regulate my emotions. I believe that I'm a more self aware person now because of the intentional work I did. Another thing, it's not even on my list. I did a lot of things by myself. I would go out by myself. I would go out for dinner by myself. I would go shopping if I could by myself. And Guys, sometimes shopping is not even buying clothes because I don't even have it like that. I would go window shopping by myself. I would watch movies by myself. I would intentionally go out to work at cafes by myself, right? Because I wanted to enjoy my own company. In fact, my fiance says one thing that he appreciates about being with me is that he can tell that I dated myself. That's what he used to say, and he still says, I can tell you dated yourself. And at that time, when I was doing it, I did not even know that it was dating myself. I just told myself, well, there's no one else to do it with, so let me do it by myself, you know? But now in hindsight, I realized that that was the Lord. That was the Lord basically teaching me how to be in my own space, enjoy my own space, reflect, think, have quiet time. I journaled a lot. I would take my journal out. This also ties into the whole fixing my inner world and fixing my inner self. I did date myself. I did take time to figure out who is Ubitsepo. What does Ubitsepo like? What does Ubitsepo not like? What are her triggers? Do I know my weaknesses and do I know my strengths? A good example, right, is there were certain things that maybe past relationships, past partners, should I call them that? There were just certain things that maybe guys that I had dated before would tell me about myself that I didn't actually take time to consider because those relationships were just so toxic and sometimes so emotionally abusive and just so terrible on my heart and my mind that I just assumed that those things must not be true because those people hurt me and they are the issue. Do you get me? That type of mindset that we all um, come out with from relationships. But then when I took time to go to therapy, I took time to date myself, I took time to think and reflect and just figure myself out. That's when I actually realized, and this is after the healing, right? Like this process of figuring yourself out usually takes place after actually healing from the pain, rather, let me say it like this, it takes place after a good chunk of healing from the past has taken place, because now you are more objective. You don't look at your parents or your family or your past relationships from an emotional perspective. You can now see them as just people and humans, and you're able to, in a sense, look at your trauma, look at your trauma for what it is, right? So a good chunk of the healing had to have already taken place. And this is why it requires, for some of us, it requires years. I know I was one of those people. It required years, right? So in that state of reflection, that's when I was able to see that, oh, although so and so did all these terrible things to me, when they said this about my character, when they said this about my habits, they were actually right. Someone can be wrong and still clock you. You understand what I mean? Someone can be a terrible person to you, but still have the ability to clock you. And I had to come to terms with that, oh, I am actually not as dope as I thought I was. For example, when you enter a healthy relationship, that's when you realize, or you come to terms with how toxic you really are. And that's what happened to me. Thank God I had the little building blocks of self-reflection, dating myself, a little bit of therapy, had time with a mentor, right? Just those moments, right? Because I had a therapist who was also Christian, prophetic, Bible believing, born again woman of God. But I also had a mentor from church that I would pray with every Wednesday. And sometimes those prayer sessions were literally like therapy sessions where she would be picking me apart and telling me, girl, God is telling me that you need to forgive this person. God is telling me that you need to do this. God, you get me? And they were so uncomfortable. But once I got connected to my fiance and a mirror came into my face and I realized that actually, ooh, I'm actually quite toxic. Actually have a lot of things that I need to work with. What made it a little bit easier to try and, clear the path and sort myself out so that it doesn't sabotage the blessing that the Lord has given me was the fact that I had already started exercising that self-regulation, exercising that therapy, that honesty, that realization that actually you sometimes are the problem. Those are also some of the things I implemented in this process, right? Some of them now, those that I've mentioned, might not seem that crazy, but they are small. They might not seem crazy, but they are small little steps that you take, that when you maybe share with someone that I am going to therapy to prepare myself for the blessing that God has given me, they might think you're crazy. Do you get what I mean? If you say to someone, I am changing my skin routine to just be more confident in my bare face because the Lord is telling me that my husband's coming, you might sound crazy. When you're putting spray or perfume, when you have a nighttime scent and you're single, you might look crazy. Do you get me? So I thought to myself, why wait to get married to practice? Let me practice right now, because it's not just about preparing for a husband or a family, but it's for me. It's so that I can feel confident about myself. It's so that I can have a more healthy worldview, a more healthy view on relationships, so that I can be forgiving, so that I can just be a kinder, more healthier person for myself. Because keep in mind, I don't know when the Lord is going to do anything for me. I just need to sit and wait on Him. So let me fill my time up with preparation, fill my time up with doing the things that actually make me feel good, look good, and be good. Okay, so this is a crazy one. So I bought certain feminine products and told myself that I would only start using them when I meet my husband. Now, let me explain this. I remember one day, something that I still enjoy doing to this day. I love going to the store to buy my groceries, my toiletries. Like I enjoy ordering them online as well because it's convenient, but it's so therapeutic for me to walk down the aisle, right? I remember doing this, and it's like there was a specific feminine product that I used, and I wanted to try same thing but just different brand. And so I thought to myself, okay, I have it at home and it's still completely full. However, I do want to experiment with this brand. So I decided I'm going to buy this new brand, but I'm going to keep it to the side. And I'm going to only open up this brand once I've met my spouse. So I bought it. Guys, I promise you that product sat in my cupboard for months. There would be days, maybe thrice this happened. There would be days where I would tell myself, okay, I'm going to use it today. And the moment I would like open the cupboard to reach out for it, something in my spirit would say, mm-mm. And I would take that urging or that nudge seriously. I would take it seriously. So it wasn't even a thing of like trying to test God or play with God. I believe that the Lord is the one that led me to buy this thing. He was the one that led me to even have this idea that I will only start using it once I feel at peace to use it, once my spouse has come. I didn't even know if that meant after we've met. Is it before we meet? Is this a sign that he's coming? I don't know if it meant I will only use it when once we're married. I didn't know. I just knew that I will know when it's time to use it. So this thing sat in my cupboard for months. Right? This is one of the crazy things. 4 months. One day, I remember just waking up and just feeling that it was time. I don't know what led me to feel this. I believe it was God, but I just remember picking it up, opening it up, and just using it. At that time, I wasn't speaking to anyone. I had not met Tuto yet. I just knew in my spirit that I can use it. And a couple of months into using it, I met him, right? So those were some of the crazy things. We're getting into crazy territory now. These were some of the crazy things that would happen, that would be placed in my heart, that the Holy Spirit would lead me to do, that I didn't have any explanation for. And these were things I just kept to myself. Specifically this one, I just kept it to myself. But I just knew that it's something that the Lord placed in my heart. So that's what I will do. The last and the most craziest thing. I bought my wedding dress 8 months before meeting my fiance. I bought my wedding dress 8 months before meeting my fiance. So I remember it was 2021 July. And for those of you who know me, my birthday is on the 7th of July. So I remember waking up on the 7th of July, deciding that I'm going to take myself out. And I got to the mall and I got dropped off opposite a bridal store. And so I thought, why not? It's your birthday. Let's go wild, right? And so walking in that store felt like a faith step for me. So I remember walking in the store and I thought, hey, why not try on some dresses? I'm by myself. I knew that not a lot of people would do what I'm doing. A lot of times when we think of, trying on your wedding dress, you think of your friends being around and your mother being around. And there was a moment as I was trying on the dresses where I did kind of feel sad because I felt like, am I doing the right thing by even being here? Am I playing with my own emotions? Like, is this, am I crazy? You get me? So anyway, I found the dress that I loved so, so much. But then I looked at the price and I thought, ooh, does it even make sense to buy this dress and buy the veil with the dress? You're single, you know what I mean? Things are not really looking that up for you anyway. And it's your birthday. Like, maybe spend the money on something completely different. You get me? And so I remember seeing the dress, loving it, but then, leaving the store, going into the mall, and just having my birthday by myself. I probably watched a movie or something. And so I went back home and I remember saying to the Lord that, God, I want to buy that dress, but I don't know if I should. There's something, there was something in my heart that felt like, is it supposed to go this way? Am I not supposed to have this whole, girly, fun moment with my friends and my sisters and, my cousins or whatever? Like, this is not how I imagined it. So I felt very unsure and uncertain. And then that night, I had a dream. And in the dream, I saw myself trying on dresses. And in the dream, I got the sense that I had found my dress. I had found the dress I want to wear. And so I woke up just knowing that the Lord was basically giving me confirmation and giving me the go ahead to go back to the store and buy the dress. And so that's what I did. It was around the 8th of July, went back 2021, bought the dress with the veil and everything. And I kept it in my cupboard. And sometimes when I would feel down within those 8 months, I would actually put the dress on and I would just look at myself. And I would share with some friends. I would tell them that, guys, this is what I did. I actually bought my wedding dress. And many of the people I shared this with commended me. They were like, wow, that's amazing, right? But it was also very clear that, yeah, okay, girl, you're brave. That's faith. You know what I mean? I sat with the dress for a good 8 months, trying it on whenever I felt like my faith needed a boost. And sometimes, as I've been saying, I felt absolutely insane. I felt like I'm actually surprised that I never broke down in tears while I put on the dress. Only because you can only imagine, maybe the first 2 months, you're extremely excited that you have your wedding dress. But then by the third month, you're thinking, I just spent, first of all, I'm self-employed. You get what I mean? I'm in full-time ministry. And I just spent this money on a dress. I don't even know, when am I going to wear this thing? You know, am I going to have this thing for so long? By the time I eventually do get married, will I even like this dress? Those were literally the thoughts that would go on in my mind. I would also think to myself, did I hear God correctly? Did I do the right thing? Was I jumping the gun? You know. And so 8 months into having this dress, I meet my spouse. I met him and we started dating. Now, in hindsight, I see that no, I didn't overstep at all. And if I can just share this little vulnerable moment with you guys, I can confidently say that if I had not bought the dress then, I don't think, let me say it like this because I don't want it to sound like I'm limiting God. But I do believe that the Lord led me to buy the dress then to actually make it easier on my pockets now. Because now, while we're planning this wedding, you notice that things are just so incredibly expensive. And I thank God now that the wedding dress and the veil are totally off the list. They were off the list 4 years ago. Think about that. I bought my wedding dress in 2021, met my fiance in 2022, and now in 2025, we're getting married. Like, it's such a crazy timeline, but I was actually in a position in 2021 to buy that dress. Now, I don't want to limit God, but I'm like, God, thank you so much. Thank you. I actually bought the dress when my pockets allowed. Now, my pockets are allowing for other things. Now I have to think about a venue and photographers. And am I making sense? I thank God for that crazy step of faith. I see that all those things that I started implementing, that He led me to do, were they were all in preparation for this very moment. This very moment. I mean, the things that my fiance loves about me are the things that I actually started implementing when the Lord was leading me. The things that the Lord led me to do are the things that now I see benefit me. They actually play a role in the promise itself, and they make this journey of entering the promise much more easier, much more easier. Because, hey, wedding dress ticked. I don't need to spend this amount of money for that anymore. I can put what would have gone to a wedding dress into something completely different. And I thank the Lord for it. I see now that the Lord has actually gone before me, genuinely gone before me. So I want to encourage someone today. There may be crazy things that the Lord has placed in your heart for you to do. Some of them are crazy, some of them are small, right? Maybe saying, hey, add this to your diet, start exercising, start your skincare routine, do this, do that. Little small things. Do them, take them seriously, right? And be consistent with them. See them as an act of obedience to God. It's not simply just, I'm trying to get myself right. It's an act of obedience. Those 12 months of beautification that Esther went through, that was her act of obedience and humility, because it played a part in the favor she received from the king. Those things mean something. They actually mean something. So do them, take them seriously, and know that it's not just you. The Lord is urging you to do some of these things. He is leading you. He is leading you. Take it seriously. Because in the future, whether it's a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, you will realize why He placed it so strongly on your heart to buy that wedding dress, to buy the jewelry. For some of you, it doesn't even need to be a wedding dress. It can be as simple as you see that necklace and the Lord says to you, that's the necklace you're going to buy. That's the necklace you're going to wear for your wedding. Buy it. Put it aside. Once in a while, open it up. Let it be a symbol of your faith, a representation of your faith. Because that's what that wedding dress was for me. I would put it on every day. In fact, I remember even saying to the Lord that I am taking this big step by buying this dress, because I want to show you, Lord, that I believe each and every word you have shared with me about my promise. I might have, doubted here and then. I might have made mistakes here and then, but I am making this monetary sacrifice, and I'm buying this thing because I believe that you will do it for me. I believe you are going to do it for me. I believe that you are the one who told me about it in the first place, and that is why my faith is in this direction. I didn't make this up. I didn't make this up, Lord. So I'm going to take that step of faith. I'm going to take that crazy step of faith, right? Do it and see the Lord actually reward your faith. He will reward your faith in the mighty name of Jesus. In fact, He is a rewarder of those who seek Him. Sometimes our steps of faith are us actually taking steps to seek out the things of God in the mighty name of Jesus. I pray that this blesses you. I love you guys so much.